Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Borla Attack same side exit exhaust system with the black chrome tips, fitting 2021 and newer 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150s, excluding the Raptor and Tremor models. If you're looking for a no holds barred, no compromise exhaust for your 3.5 EcoBoost, Borla has got exactly what you're looking for right here. The Attack system brings you a great aggressive sound, some really superb build quality, and stealthy good looks, plus some other cool technology together in one slick, high-quality package. And it makes this an excellent choice for those who really want to wake up their EcoBoost F-150. However, make no mistake, this one is loud. We're gonna give it the full 5 out of 5 on our loudness meter. So on the scale of 1 to wake the neighbors, this is definitely gonna get them to sit up and take notice. So make no mistake, this is definitely not for the faint of heart. Borla is well known within the enthusiast community for making some of the best exhaust that you can buy, especially when it comes to how they sound. Now, the Attack series, like what we have here, is the loudest of their offerings, and you can certainly tell the difference with this system. Now, the EcoBoost engines really don't sound like anything in stock form. Most you're gonna get is some turbo noise from the engine bay, but you really aren't gonna hear anything in the way of the exhaust. However, as you heard from the clips at the beginning of the video, this exhaust changes all of that completely. It's got a nice little bit of rasp to it, but the tone is still deep, it's aggressive, and I can't help but think of the latest generation Ford GT or some kind of touring car when I hear this. It's got a really interesting note to it, and it turns the 3.5 from a quiet workhorse into an absolute banshee. And I really just think that this sounds great, even better than I expected it to. Now, this is of course going to be a catback system, so it takes the place of your stock muffler and resonator and replaces it with this smaller little resonator towards the front end of the system. Now, this is home to some cool tech as well to make sure you get good sound without the drone. Now, the Attack name here stands for Acoustically Tuned Applied Kinetics, which is just Borla's fancy way of saying that they specifically tune each exhaust for a specific vehicle and engine application. Now, they also employ something they call polyphonic harmonizing technology. This is a Borla exclusive tech, and it's essentially the same type of science that goes into tuning pipe organs. So if you're familiar with any kind of pipe or wind instrument, this is gonna sound very familiar to you. So what Borla does is they employ different lengths of pipe to control different frequencies. So it's going to eliminate obtrusive or dissonant sounds, which is what causes drone. Now, these trick bits utilize different sizes and diameters of pipe as well, plus perforated tube-shaped cores and different patterns within to make all those frequencies harmonize. So you get that really nice sound, you get the volume you want with zero drone, and you can hopefully see some of that right here. Now, so many exhausts might sound really good, but they can have some pretty terrible drone, which is going to negatively impact the experience of driving whatever it's attached to. And while I hope none of you have had the distinct displeasure of riding in a vehicle with a really drony exhaust in the past, I'm sure most of us can say that we've done it. And while it might sound awesome, it can really grate on your nerves after even just a few minutes. It might sound fantastic outside, but if there's a way to avoid that drone while still keeping a really nice exhaust note, I'm sure most of us would go out of our way to do that. It just makes the experience of driving your truck that much more pleasant. So you can enjoy that better exhaust note. You're not gonna have to crank up the radio, put on earplugs, or yell to have a conversation with your passengers. Now, of course, we have to talk about the tips and where this thing exits. These are 4-inch dual black chrome tips, and I will admit that these are really slick. This is gonna exit in the same spot as your stock exhaust, right behind the passenger side rear wheel. It's a more subtle approach when it comes to the look, and that dark chrome really just finishes everything off nicely. Especially if you're going for that full blacked out look with your build, this is gonna suit the bill. However, any subtlety is thrown immediately out the window as soon as you fire it up. So while the casual observer may not notice the tips right away, they're certainly gonna know the second you fire it up. Now, as far as construction goes, this is a really high quality system. Borla makes all of their exhausts completely from T304 stainless steel. So from the extension pipe through the resonator all the way back to the tips, everything is T304 here. So that means you're gonna get the best corrosion and rust resistance you can with an exhaust this side of titanium. And as you can see, this is just a nice looking exhaust. Everything is put together well, the welds are good, and the tips really just finish it off nicely. Now, the piping here is all 3-inch mandrel bent tubing up to the Y here, and then 2¼ inch tubing out to the tips, which are again 4-inch in diameter. So there's no weird wrinkles or creases in the metal, which means that all the exhaust gases are gonna flow nice and smoothly through, which allows your engine to breathe better than stock. It's also gonna reduce back pressure over stock, which is something that's important for a turbocharged engine. Pricing for this one is gonna come in at around $1,400, and there's no getting around it. That is a lot of money, but this is a really high quality system with some excellent drone canceling technology built in. So if you want good sound, you want the quality, and you want the pleasant driving experience, this is gonna be a great option for you. It's really a no compromise exhaust, with the exception of the fact that you're gonna have to pay quite a bit to get your hands on it. Installation will get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and it should take you around 2 hours to complete the job. Now, you may need an adapter depending on your cab and bed size, but the installation is going to be the same process regardless. Now, this again is a completely bolt-on installation that utilizes all of your factory exhaust hangers, so there's no modifications needed to your truck, making it a pretty straightforward installation. It's about all I can say about it here, so with that, let's head on out to the install bay and we'll walk you through the process.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun or half-inch drive ratchet, a 3/8 drive ratchet, a 6-inch extension, a 10, a 13, and a 15mm socket. Hi everyone. Today we're installing an exhaust on our F-150, so let's get started with the uninstall of the stock system. First thing we're going to do is remove the 2 bolts that hold the flange together here at the front of the exhaust system. So to do that, we're going to use our 13mm socket and get those out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is remove the 2 isolators here right in front of the muffler. And to do that, they're each being held on by 2 bolts. So we're going to use our 10mm socket and remove those bolts. Now we'll do the same thing to the second isolator here. Next thing we're going to do is remove this rear isolator behind the axle here. And again, it's got 2 bolts, one on the bottom, one on the side. We're going to use our 10mm socket to remove those. Now at this point, it's a good idea to get yourself a buddy to help lift this out because it's all coming out in one piece. And we've got one more bolt to remove on the isolator right at the back of the muffler. So we'll go ahead and take that out. I've got a buddy to help carry it and we'll get this thing out. First thing we're going to do on our install is install the front pipe with the muffler attached to it. And we're going to slide that up to the original front pipe from the vehicle. And reusing the original hardware, we'll go ahead and get this loosely attached. Now, when you install this, you do also want to make sure that the Borla logo is facing so that you can actually read it. We'll slide in our bolt. And we'll just leave them loosely attached for right now while we install the rest of the system. Now at this point, since we removed the isolators with the stock exhaust when we removed it, we need to transfer some of them back so that we can use it on the new system. The ones that we're going to use are this front one here in front of the muffler, the one behind the muffler, and the one in the rear. So you're just going to want to slide these off. Now you may need to use some spray lubricant to help get these off if necessary. Our vehicle is pretty new, so they're coming right off. Now we can go ahead and continue our installing our isolators as we go. Now before we install our second pipe, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our front isolator here. But instead of mounting it the way that it came off, we're going to reverse it so that the isolator is in front of the bracket here. So we'll put it up like this, reuse the original hardware. And tighten it down with our 10mm socket. Now we'll go ahead and slide one of our 3-inch clamps over the end of our mid pipe. Slide it into the isolator and then slide it over the front pipe. Now we can go ahead and snug up our clamp using a 15mm socket. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our isolator in the middle over the cross member using the original hardware, and then we'll tighten it up with our 10mm socket. Now if you have a Super Crew with a 6.5-foot bed or a Super Cab with an 8-foot bed, you will need to make sure that you acquire another adapter because it does not come in the kit. So we'll go ahead and install this now, and then we can do our over the axle pipe. So we'll slide our clamp over our extender, slide it onto the muffler pipe, and then snug it up with our 15mm socket. All right, now we're going to transfer over our isolator that goes in front of the axle across the cross member under the bed. We'll install another 3-inch clamp, and then we can slide our over the axle pipe over the axle and slide it onto our extension pipe. And now we'll go ahead and secure the isolator to the cross member with the original hardware. All right, now we're going to transfer over our rear isolator from our stock exhaust to our new exhaust. And we're just going to slide this over the hanger like so. Then we're going to go ahead and install our 2 clamps onto the ends of the tailpipe here. And then we'll go ahead and slip the tailpipe over the axle pipe and secure our hanger using the original hardware. So we'll slide this up, slide the pipes over the axle pipes. And then secure it to the frame. We'll get the one on the bottom started. Now we'll install our top bolt on the side and tighten them down with our 10mm socket. All right, now that we've got our system completely installed, go back and double check all of your clearances, make sure there's no interference with any hoses or suspension or brake lines or anything like that. And then starting from the front, go ahead and tighten everything down to manufacturer recommended specifications. And then once you do that, before you fire it up, it's a good idea to always go through with a clean cloth and some rubbing alcohol and just wipe down the entire system just to make sure that you got any grease or dirt or anything like that that may have been on your hands while you were installing it. That way, when you fire it up and it gets heated up, it's not going to burn into the actual system. So it'll be a nice clean system for you to drive and show off. And that wraps up our review and install of the Borla Attack dual exhaust system with black chrome tips with the same side exit for your 21 to 24 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150, excluding Raptor and Tremor. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.